defense, zinc, aloe vera plus, and basically those are the products that we used to give him over and over again for a period of time until he recovered. So I highly recommend them for someone who is taking care of a cancer patient.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Then there's another question here. My question is, says MRK Williams, my question is, why is it that some doctors are biased about supplements? I figure you mean that they discourage people from using them? Is that what you mean? So who would like to tackle that one?
Let me make an attempt. Our training as medical professionals, we are taught to critically appraise of something, get the literature, and what we call evidence-based medicine. Now, that requires that somebody's got to publish something in the journals, etc. Unfortunately for us, as we speak now, the supplement industry is huge business all over the world. And it's full of people who are, some of them with dodgy reputations. And that's why it's important for us in the Neolife family to actually spread the word out there that what we have is something that is well researched. It's based in nature. As I mentioned earlier on, the products are made out of food that we eat, and that they actually do work. So for those who are interested, if you've got people who would like to get that, we can actually put you in touch with the scientific advisory board through the product manager, product director of the company, so that you can get the actual literature. So that's where some of the issues come with medical professionals, in that they do not understand the difference between the nutritional supplements out there and the fact that the training is such that they need a certain level before they can prescribe something. Let me put it that way. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Edward Nambasi. And now I've got a question here, and with that question, I'm going to start by giving an apology. Clearly, Nila, you are a visitor. You are a guest invited for the very first time. And after I've apologized, I'll read out your question. So sorry about that. She says, I thought you would briefly tell us about your products first. Otherwise, how can I ask about what I don't know? Okay, Nila, Neolife, the person who has invited you to this presentation should tell you after the presentation that it is the world's leading nutrition company. I can say that with confidence because I have had occasion to look at a few labels and look at a few claims as well by other companies. And now I personally am convinced that this is the world's leader, because everything is out of human food and everything is also out of non-genetically modified organisms. So they don't allow any of that into the chain, and everything is rigorously tested so that you can actually follow the supplement way back from the seed that it came from or the farm that it was grown on. So those are the nutrition supplements. But what I was looking for when I looked at this opportunity I was looking for cleaning products. And as a lady, I'm sure you'd agree with me that we spend a lot of time exposed to cleaning. And so 28 years ago, you heard Dr. Baker say that I've been in the business for 28 years. Yes, Dr. Nambasi and I have been in the business for 28 years. And we were looking for, at least I was looking for products that would not poison my children. because my kids were small at the time. And really, I was saying, which is the worst poison? Waiting for them to fall sick and then I medicate them, because at that stage I had taken time to read a lot of the side effects of the medications? Or is it something perhaps that I am purchasing? And so I chose to stop purchasing, but I didn't find anything until somebody invited me, just very much like the way you've been invited, to have a look at this. So yes, I took a huge step of faith, because the ethos of this company is very interesting. They tell us that first use the products yourself, and then you can set about sharing them with other people. And so I thought that is very exciting, because nobody in the medical profession ever said, before you prescribe this, you have to know what it tastes like, and what it will do to you. Okay, so I immediately fell in love with that idea that I had to use them myself. And I have never stopped. And that's the beauty of this, because once you have experienced something that works for you, it would be something really compelling to move you away from that. And yes, I'm not saying that people don't start them and then stop. They will give all sorts of reasons. One of the reasons that is very commonly given is the cost. But you see, again, in Neolife, we are taught the difference between cost and value. And I want you to understand that there is a huge difference between the cost of something and the value of something. So we were taught very early to ask this question: what is the point of buying something cheap, but you need to buy about 10 or 50 times to get the same effect as if you were to, if you were to use a Neolife product that might cost a little bit more, but you just buy it that once, or you buy it again, but you are buying a small amount of it. And that was like a light bulb moment for me, cost and value. So that's where people have been trapped. They think, oh, those things are expensive. I'll wait until I'm sick enough, and then I will do something about it. And that's what you heard Dr. Edward Nambasi say, that please, listen to your elders. Dr. Edward, you are the elder on the platform. He's telling you that don't wait until that eventuality of you are too sick before you take action. So that is what Neolife is all about. For the rest of it, please turn to the person who invited you to this platform, and you'll hear a lot more about what we do. Thank you for that question. So now I'm going to go to another question here. How can you control a brain tumor to disappear permanently? Anybody, any of the doctors want to address that one? How can you control a brain tumor? Maybe I'll ask Dr. Lawi if your recording is good, your network is good, because you've just described cancer of the prostate.
Hello. About the brain tumor. Not like we normally know, some tumors are metastatic, others are not. So if whatever condition that
Sorry, the network is fluctuating. Anyway, Dr. Becker, is your network a bit more stable?
Tumor has one of the best. Phytodefense also has the flavonoid and carotenoid. What these do, they increase the natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are cells that God designed them to be in your body so that they can move around your body, look for those abnormally growing cells. We call them tumors, maybe in the broader perspective.
Awesome. Yes, that's actually.
So phytodefense carotenoid cruciferous, yeah. So they increase our natural killer cells by 20%. So it will increase your chances of reducing the size of the tumor. That's one of the products I know about. Then maybe other doctors can add in if there's something to be added on.
Okay. All right. I see that we have our president's team member on the call, Mr. Mike van Deventer, and you've got your hand up. Would you like to pitch in? Please unmute. Oh, I'd have to unmute you, right? Okay, go for it.
Can you hear me, Cesar?
Yes, now we can.
Good, thank you very much. I'm not a doctor, let me just clarify that. I do have 40 years of experience in Neolife though. I just want to say two things. Firstly, relating back to the question of why doctors are skeptical. I think it's clear that doctors' training goes in a different direction. And we must bear in mind that most people, including ourselves, tend to be closed-minded. Any new, strange idea that is quite opposite from what we know and have learned, we tend to reject out of hand. But I want to give you one example. One of the people in my organization, her son was a medical student and she wanted to introduce him to this business. Now, he wasn't the average medical student because he turned out at the moment he's professor in hematology at one of our medical schools here in Cape Town. He went to the library, started doing research, and his research led him to join the business. So somebody of that caliber who had the ability and the tools to verify what we were saying was in fact convinced. So if any doctor is open-minded enough to do his research, I cannot see how they can't be convinced. And what Dr. Eddie said is very valuable. Some people may have had bad experiences with supplements because what they used or what people used was junk and it didn't work. So they're negative from that point of view. And Cesar, if I may, I just want to say one other thing. You know, I see a lot of questions about different diseases. I hear about the one with a brain tumor. We must accept that our products cannot work miracles. Sometimes something like a brain tumor, in my experience, and you as doctors must say if I'm wrong or not, is too far advanced to cure with supplementation. And in any way, we're not really in the business of curing diseases. It happens, but our primary focus is to help people stay healthy for longer. But in many cases, when the body receives the nutrients it's been lacking, the body can correct itself and you see cure coming. But we cannot promise people cure in all situations. That is unrealistic. Thank you. And thanks for this panel. I think it's very worthwhile.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your contribution.
Can I also come in, Dr. Cesar?
Yes, please.
Yes, this is Baker. As
Yes.
we lay a baseline of this discussion, we must understand two things. There is medical part of it, and we have a nutritional part of it. If you heard very well in my introduction, I clearly stated that we are having 3 categories of disease. If we go infectious, we believe that that one will be cured by medicine. But if we go metabolic. That is systemic. It means that by the time you start getting these signs and symptoms, it is an indication that body systems are failing. And actually, one body system will also be reflecting in another body system. What does that mean? We are in a business of supplementing. And the word supplementing means adding on. What are we adding on? We are adding on our nutrition. And scientifically, we believe nutrition must be balanced. That's why we say we are having a balanced diet. Once it goes in deficient, then systems will disintegrate. Or once it goes in excess, still the system will disintegrate. Basically, what are we doing? We must understand that when Neolife says whole grain, and it comes up with TNN, what helps the cells to take in the glucose that is derived from carbohydrates is the lipids and sterols that are found in the seed coat. Whole grain, it means you are having the whole grain, not partial, not refined. What we eat refined. We do not take in the seed coat, which has the lipids and sterols. When I'm talking to my doctor friends, I always tell them that we were made like seeds. Our cells are like seeds. Seeds have seed coats and cotyledons. And we also have the cell membrane, and we also have intracellular organelles. Now, it is the seed coat which contains the lipids and sterols. If we are eating a monocotyledon, we are taking in carbohydrates. And if we are eating a dicotyledon, we are taking in proteins. But God knew that these proteins have to enter into the cells to help the cell do its work, to let the nutrients come in. And he put the seed coat. But now the problem we have is we remove the seed coat. And then Neolife comes in, gives us the lipids and the sterols that we would have got from the seed coat. And then we balance. We have eaten refined carbohydrates. Now we get the lipids and sterols to facilitate the entries. We also look at the proteins. We need to have balanced proteins. We have plant proteins, which is very good, and animal protein. If we do not take it in balance, that is where we have systemic failure. We also look at fat. We have fish fat and we have plant fat. That's when you prepare any greens, you'll see that that oil substance of the soup. That is fat. That is plant fat. And plant fat and fish fat gives us high density lipoproteins. And we as human beings, we produce low density. And this low density comes from the carbohydrates that we eat, because the glucose is converted into this fat. So now, when we have it balanced, you take plant protein and animal protein, then you will have good systemic function. When you have it balanced, having carbohydrates with lipids and sterols, then you will not have systemic failure. When you have balanced fats, having fish and plant, because in us, we do not have sterols, we have cholesterols. So which means that we make cholesterols from the carbohydrates. So now let's understand that this, we are supplementing what we are lacking from our daily diet. Absolutely. And once we give the body what it needs, it will start to rectify itself. To answer the other questions, why many medical doctors do not subscribe to supplementing is because we tend to portray supplementation as treatment. So now that's where the problem is. And second, being doctors, we believe that we are the supreme, we are knowledgeable. God has entrusted us to make sure that we are a source of recovery for his creature. So it takes a lot of clinical trials from you who did not study clinical trials. And how can you convince me? And it's all about having understood the value of balanced diet. So the questions that I have seen that many of our participants are really forwarding, let's go back to the basic, having a balanced diet. Thank you.
Absolutely. And yes, thank you so much, Dr. Baker Kabugo, for that one. It actually has hopefully answered a question that I'm reading right now from Doreen, who is a guest. She says, a relative got type 2 diabetes at 26. I gave him Botanical Balance and Trianen for 2 months, and I didn't notice any change. And you see, that is the approach that we are trying to encourage you to move away from, using our supplements and the entire offering by Neolife as the allopathic, as we want to call it, medication, because it is not. This is nutrition. Now, you have pointed out that your client or your relative is 26 years old. Can I put it to you, ma'am, that it has taken more than 26 years for him to get to that level? And to expect 2 months of 2 supplements, and we don't know how consistently he took them, without the amino acids, without the essential fatty acids that one finds in omega-3, without the phytonutrients that one finds in the carotenoid, the flavonoid, and the cruciferous that Dr. Lawi talked about, without the minerals. You see, people are mineral deficient, true story. Most of the soils out there are lacking in zinc, they're lacking in selenium. Without all those, without a balance in life, without even knowing his stress levels or his willingness to exercise, all those culminate in bringing health to an individual. But to expect that, okay, I'm just going to give him this, and if it doesn't work within 2 weeks, these things don't work. That's not how this whole opportunity works. You've heard from our president's team member who says he's been in the business for over 40 years. And then I come along with Dr. Nambasi and tell you that, hey, 28 years later, we are still very excited about what we are doing here. It takes consistency, persistence, and it actually takes the determination to change. And this is our promise to you. It has been said that with consistent use and proper feeding and changing habits and, you know, just sticking around long enough, your entire body can be renewed. Every cell in that body will be renewed on average after 7 years, not a week. And that, I think, is what frustrated me personally, the frustration of trying to promise people that, oh, you've come with your arthritis or your sore knees or whatever. Let me give you this and an injection, and I promise you, you'll be okay. What we have managed to do in that situation is dull the pain and conceal what the body is trying to say. And the body is trying to say, help, you know, I am dry, I am malnourished, I have no oil left in my system. And we say, okay, take a jab for pain and go away, come back next week. And sure enough, they'll keep coming back week after week after week until they get onto chronic medication. So this is a total lifestyle change. And I just want anybody who wants to contribute to the fact that you actually get paid to change your lifestyle and to share with other people. How awesome is that? So any closing remarks? We are almost reaching the top of the hour. We can first hear from Dr. Lawi, if you want to make any closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cesar. What I would like to just share with people is, number one, you need to be very confident when you are prescribing our products. That's the first thing you need to. As a distributor, you need to be very confident when you're recommending these products to your clients. And the only thing that will give you the confidence is not how good my presentation is, maybe as a doctor or some doctor somewhere. The first 80% of the people that you will talk to will trust you basing on your personal story. Before you even mention Dr. So-and-so or Dr. Watts, you need to first have your own story. That will be able to get the attention of your clients. Number two, we, just like the other previous speakers have mentioned, business of changing people's lifestyle. It's not something very simple. It doesn't happen in a day. And then Africa mostly, where people wait fast for treatment. People don't, they're not.
We're having a bit of a break in your network. Sorry, Dr. Lawi. I'm going to now ask.
They don't have the habit of preventing treatment. So what your lifestyle change that you are seeking in the products? Sorry. So first you need to, because what we want is to change the lifestyle of these clients. We want to change the lifestyle of your client. So the first thing you might want to do is
Okay, Dr.
recommend the products.
Yeah.
Yes, so you need to go ahead and change their mindset, change how they think about supplementation, so that they stop thinking that this is treatment, to start thinking that this is something they need to use every day. So all of us have, we need to start using that approach. And then thirdly and lastly, we need to be, another reason we need to be very confident is that even us doctors make mistakes. I've met many people who have gone to doctors and somehow the doctors have missed the diagnosis. So, and we live in a world where doctors don't even have time to listen to their patients. So they're bound to make so many mistakes, errors in judgment and all that. So you're not supposed to advise against the doctor, but at least teach this person how to change their lifestyle, how to have a better efficiency of their body systems, just like Dr. Kabugo was talking about. So our work is more long-term as distributors. You might not be a doctor, but you can, using your story, you can touch and change the lives of so many people around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Dr. Nambasi, and then I'll wrap up because we are reaching the top of the hour. Thank you, Dr. Becker. You've given us a really good contribution. And for the guests, please, I hope you've noted every word that has been said. So Dr. Edward Nambasi.
Thank you very much, and thank you, colleagues, for the sharing. As I always tell people who join our family, We are not in the business of treating, we are in the business of maintaining health. And if somebody's got a medical condition that they're being treated for, our disclaimer, if I may call it that, is that you continue with your medication. At the same time, take your supplementation, change your lifestyle, and all the things that have been talked about here. And then eventually, as supplementation repairs the body, you'll find that you need less and less of your medication. And eventually, in some instances, you actually come off the medication. But let that decision be made by your healthcare professional, and do not expect that it will be done in a blink of an eye. As I don't know if this was my colleague who posted the last comment about people having a lifetime of illness, expecting it to go in a blink of an eye. We are not miracle workers, again, as Mike said as well. So this is a total life change, lifestyle change. And as Dr. Lawi said, our own stories tell a lot of about what the products can do in our lives. The total life change, taking away the toxins in the house and improving your nutrition. At my age now, I'm actually a lot faster than some people who are half my age when it comes to working and endurance, etc. That can be a testimony on its own. But just to assure everybody on the call, the person who invited you will explain the details of the business, will explain the details of the other supplements that we've not gone into detail. The purpose of this was to just let you know that yes, it is an opportunity that works both monetary as well as health improvement and improving, ending the trend of chronic disease in the world by taking control, rather taking responsibility for our own health, changing our lifestyle, and improving on supplementation. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that I started this platform very slowly. I called it Applied Neolife for the reason that I wanted to unpack what we have and apply it to real life. And we meet every Tuesday when possible. There are some Tuesdays that I'm not available, but it has also opened up my mind further beyond what my already open mind was. Because as Dr. Kabugo has so eloquently put it, the causes of disease, either infection or metabolic, or I suppose you can go into the realm of genetic. And I've taught time and time again that the genetic component that a lot of people want to hang on to might only contribute about 9 or 10%. The rest is epigenetic, on top of the genetics. And so we are talking environment and we are talking nutrition. So with that said, it becomes really fascinating to appreciate each one of us in our own capacity, how fearfully and wonderfully we are created. And the fact that we've been presented with everything that we need. The rest is for us to get the correct knowledge and to apply that knowledge. And that is what we have hopefully shed some light on. And that's why the 4 of us that were on the doctor's panel will not hesitate to point you in the right direction, as long as you are prepared to choose differently and to take care of the controllable factors in your life, such as your lifestyle. So thank you very much for all this. And I look forward to all of you logging on again. Looks like we might have to acquire a bigger platform in the future so that everybody can fit on. For those who couldn't arrive, I'll see if I can get the recordings out. Thank you and good night.